morning we have Dion Stokovic, who is the British Union and Ireland Youth Director. He's, for those who know him, he has energy for 200, I think. It's always amazing to hear and to listen to him. So I want to give the word to you this morning. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Claire. Very good morning, everybody. It is great to be with you. And I'm going to just start with this, if that's all right. I'm going to make sure that I'm just trying to share the screen. Let me just see, did I do a right job or not? Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and try again. Share. Here it is. Are you able to see anything on the screen?
Yes, we.
Do you see the slide? Youth, happiness, and joy.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. That's what I need to. Hey, very good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's great to be with you. My name is Dejan. I'm a youth pastor here in the United Kingdom, and I serve in UK and Ireland. And absolutely, I was able to edit some of your videos, as I was helping my wife a little bit with some of this, and I had a chance to listen to your presentations in my own timing. And I just want to say thank you so much for the program, which makes certainly a difference in my life, and I'm sure many others. Well, let me just share with you. This is my family. In case you don't know, this is my wife Diana, the lady who works with you in the office, but taking consideration that you all work from your living rooms. She doesn't work practically from your office anymore. But she is definitely part of the family of TED. There is Zara behind. This is our oldest daughter, Stefan in front, and that snowman, which was with us for a couple of weeks. Now he is not with us anymore. He is in heaven. You need to define that, but certainly he will come back once again. My friends, let me just tell you a little bit about my past and history. I do originally come from Serbia, and I can say that the moment I joined youth ministry in the United Kingdom, I actually did not start in Stanborough Park Church. I started in Cornwall, and Cornwall is the most western part of England. And I was part of the Church Revitalization Project in St. Austell, and our main mission was to revive the church. And after 40 years with no baptisms, God has blessed us with a young person who gave their life to Jesus. But then from that point, I came to Stanborough Park Church, and probably for the rest of my life, this will be the most beautiful memories. I'm hoping, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I served in this church for about 4 years, and I had about 25 to 30 youth in this church. I want to share you some of the photos, and I just want to say these are the most amazing. Also the toughest people in the world, for sure. This is just from some of the trips that we took together, but we had a very lively ministry in Stanborough Park Church. My week was going so fast. But let me start with the first day. So Monday, despite we would say Sunday, well, Monday was our day off in Stanborough Park Church, the most loneliest day in the week. Pastors get to have a day off, and then we wonder why we are slightly more depressed. But reality is, Monday was day off. Tuesday was a lads' night, which meant we got all the boys together. Wednesday was the girls' night. We had the missionaries, and we worked together with the girls on Wednesday's girls' night. Thursday was a Bible study, which was for the baptismal preparation. Friday was for AY program. In a Cedar Sycamore room, which was at that stage also incorporating the Stanborough secondary. And then, of course, Saturday morning service. Saturday evening was a social. I can tell you, I can make a lot of pancakes in a very short amount of time. If you want to test me, you'll be surprised. I made so many pancakes because that's the cheapest way to go, and the young people loved it. And then once a month, we used to go and travel together for the outing. And this Sunday is the one I want to mention to you, because if you know young people, you would know for sure that not always they show up on time. And especially for the Bible studies and things like this, you'll find out that they're a little bit late. But on the Sunday when we're doing outing, this was the time that nobody was late. Nobody was late. What would happen is this: we would actually park this a terrible old van. For all the Stambro members, you would remember this van. This was a soup run van, which in the end got stolen. It's a sad story, but it helped thousands before that, just to let you know. And I would park the van in front of the flat of Stambro Park, where I used to live. I used to live in a flat with my wife, and in one room there. And I would park this next to the flat, and on Sunday morning I would come out, and my teenagers would be standing in front of the van in a queue, like they would do it in Serbia or maybe other countries, in a queue for the bread, early, the best fresh bread. So they would be all standing there, nobody was late. And this time we were going to a place which is called Thorpe Park. My friends, let me just tell you, I told them to be there for 7 o'clock. I can tell you they were there all 6:45. And when we arrived in front of the Thorpe Park, which is only about an hour and a half drive from here, which is a team amusement park, I can tell you we were not the first in the queue, for sure. There were some people there which come from different cultures, which probably came there from about 3 o'clock in the morning and just stood in a queue to make sure. So as we were standing in front of the Thorpe Park, we were able to hear everything what was happening in the theme park inside. My friends, I could hear people screaming. As a very reasonable youth pastor, I was thinking, I think we're making a mistake. I think we should just pack the kids back in the van, find some food, and go home. But of course, my kids would never allow this to happen. They'll probably just leave me there and they'll go inside by themselves, but I can't let this happen. And so as I was standing there, they were playing the music from the speakers which were hidden all around of the theme songs that some of you might know, like Indiana Jones and things like this. And let me just tell you, all of this environment was just pumping me up with adrenaline. I was scared already, but you as a youth pastor cannot admit that you're scared, because if you admit that, you're in a serious trouble. So as I was standing for the tickets, I was hearing pum, 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 param, pum, param. And I was thinking, maybe this is really time to turn around, but my kids could not wait to get inside. We got the tickets, and when we got the tickets and we came inside, one of my young people, absolute genius, he said to everybody, he took over the group in a few seconds, and he said this: my friends, let's go first to the biggest roller coaster they have in this theme park. And I was thinking about this, it's a good idea, but I was like, what about if we start with a small one? Like we start with a choo-choo train, we stand with the kids and then we go a little bit around and drive around and watch the bears, because they had the bears there. And my kids were like, no, Pastor, we need to go to the largest train and largest roller coaster. And this is what happened. We went to this terrible construction, and we again had to stand in the queue. I was measuring the height. I was thinking, are we going to live this? What's going to happen if one of my teenagers decides to do something which is not very wise? All of these things. And as I was thinking how we're going to survive this, I could hear somebody crying. And I looked around to see what's happening, and I realized that just in front of me, there was a lady which had a son, a smaller lady, and she was so shaken by all this happening in front. Remember, the music is still playing in the background, pam param pam pam param, and this lady just could not take it anymore. I looked at her and I said, "Can I help you somehow?" And she broke down. She said to me, "I don't want to be here." And I said, "I don't want to be here as well." And in this very moment, we had this connection, and she's like, "What are we gonna do?" And I said, "I do not know what we're gonna do, but I said, "I'm a youth pastor. If you want me, I can pray for you." And this is the first time ever, I need to say this, guys, that I offered public prayer in the middle of the theme park ever in my life. And she looked at me, she says, "Please pray for me." So I said, "Dear God, help us both. We do not know how we're going to do this." And I pray for this lady. And I was thinking maybe I should open my pastor's office here in the theme park. Stambro Park, pastor's office is a little bit boring because it seems to me more people want to pray here. And as we were standing there, the terrible sound you could hear it. The train which you just see there slowly stopped. And if you can see this, the train has 2 seats, in each of the wagons. I was thinking it'd be really good for me if I don't have to ride by myself. I cannot tell them I'm scared. And guess what? Teenagers already planned everything. And taking consideration there was 11 of us, I ended up being by myself in the last wagon. As my kids were putting these things down, I was thinking, well, this is it. There is no way out of this. And then the sound for everybody who took a ride in a theme park, which will never be erased from my memory. I heard it. And that was the sound of the train climbing up. It was a tuck, 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 tuck. And I was thinking, well, this is it. I at least I have this seat belt. It's going to be all right. And then the train stopped at the top like this, like you can see on the picture. And I looked on the left and I looked on the right. And I said to myself, wow, what a beautiful country I live in. And then somebody who cannot be said to be very wise released the handbrake. And the train went in speeds that I could not describe. It was so fast that I struggled to keep my eyes open. And then I saw my teenagers do something totally crazy. They put their hands up like this. And I was thinking, I started shouting. I said, put their hands down, put their hands down. But of course, they couldn't hear me because the wind was taking all the sound behind me. And as I looked down and I saw what's coming up, I did the only thing I could that a man can do in this situation. I closed my eyes. I could not take it anymore. And I was trying to be brave, but I couldn't. And then I opened my mouth and I started screaming like that man there in a picture. And I was so glad that my sound could not travel forward. And I remember going left and right, and they started spinning. And I was thinking, who invented this thing? And as slowly the wind was slowing down, I realized that we are going to stop. So I did the one thing I could do from all my strength. I opened one of my eyes just to make sure that we are stopping. And as I realized we are, I was like, I was worshiping God in that very moment in the back of this train when I heard my teenagers shout for the joy, and they said, oh, let's do it again. And I was thinking, no, let's not do it again. But guess what? They ran outside of this train and stood in a queue once again. And that very moment I said to everybody, guys, I love you. You know that. I will do a lot of things for you, but I'm not going on this train again. If you need me, I will be on the choo-choo train, counting bears. And so just make sure you behave. My friends, as I was going through this experience, I realized one thing, that everybody there in this theme park actually was just looking for a little bit of happiness in their life. Everybody was there to relax and to have a good time. But above everything else, it seems to me they looked for a little bit of joy and happiness there in that park. My friends, it is very easy to listen to presentations like this, but I don't want to just let you listen. I would like you to engage as well. And everybody has a Zoom chat section. And for everybody who watches this video later on YouTube, make sure you use the comment section. I would like to ask you, the question is, where do people search for happiness? And the reality is, well, I want to ask you, where do you search for the happiness? You have the chat in front of you, and just use that few moments. And the question is, are you searching for that happiness at home? Are you maybe searching for the happiness in your family? If you are studying, if you are, maybe that's university or school, whatever. Church, is it the place of happiness for you? Church. Maybe you find happiness in friends, education. And as I cannot see these chats at the moment, I will have to look a little bit later. But the reality is, I would like to ask you as well, where do you look for the happiness in your life? I just realized, let me have a look. Can I see the chat? Here it is. Actually, I managed to do this. Okay, so yeah, don't be shy. Okay, somebody says, I search for the happiness in nature. Somebody in my Sabbath school class. That's a little bit surprising, but Jovan, thank you so much for that answer. My friends, don't be shy. This all stays here with us, but for everybody else on YouTube, we'll keep the comments on. Well, my friends, somebody also added, I search for happiness in sharing, and that is a beautiful place. Now, my friends, the research was done, and the research which was done is done with the 20,000 people around the world, and you will be surprised that 68% of young people around the world actually consider themselves happy. What is a little bit shocking to us, but all of this is changing so quickly that these percentages can also be very different just in a year or two. My friends, what is very interesting is that countries which are poorer exhibit higher percentage of happy young people than the ones which are richer. The countries in which iPhone and Samsung phone is not maybe as easy to access are countries which are more happier. If you look, my friends, here it is, this is the group that was researched. It was between years of 15 and 21. 20,000 people show this. If you look up on the top right corner, you will see Indonesia has about 90% of happiness. Dominican Republic is actually very close to this. Nigeria is about 80%. India is about 78%. But if you look at the bottom section closer to me, you will find out that France is about 60%. England is 58%. Australia is 57% of young people are considering themselves, and Japan only 27%. And you will see there in the bottom right corner that Generation Z, which people who are born in 90s, are showing something very interesting. They're getting increasingly more unhappy. My friends, I don't think anybody here in this room is from Generation Z, but I do not want to see any grumpiness as you're getting old. Otherwise, you'll be in the same group of the Generation Z. And the sad thing is that the younger women actually show they're less likely to say that they are happy. Now, my friends, the question is really, can we measure happiness these days? And some research would say yes, some research would say no. Many scientists would say, well, listen, happiness is so subjective, it is really hard to measure. But the principle they used in this survey was very simple. They would say, mark the question as the 1 if you're very happy, and mark the question as number 5 if you find yourself not be very happy on this question that it was posed. But altogether, my friends, it does give us a very good picture where our young people are today. Now, a question for you, my friends. Once again, please do use the chat section or later on the YouTube comment section. What makes them happy? But what a question is I have for you. What makes you happy? Some of you already shared, and here it is. Vera said Jesus and family. Interacting with friends, family together, sharing. Okay, Alan said, my wife makes me happy. Somebody said, Leon, reading makes Leon, my wife, and you probably share this very same thing, that is reading. Reading makes them happy. Well, I'm sure the answers would very much vary from one person to another. But here it is. This is a very important thing that we got out of the survey. They asked young people what actually makes them happy. Here it is. My faith and my religion actually is the last thing on the list. Only about 46%, if I remember properly, 44, sorry, would say the faith and the religion is helping them in be happy. And then you will find the list jump very quickly. Having enough money and comfortable life makes them happy. Enjoying my school life, we're talking about mainly teenagers and slightly older, fulfilled in my studies at work, good relationships with my friends, good relationship with my family, and being healthy physically and mentally. My friends, if you check your comments in the comment section, you will find out that some of you, the things that make you happy are already represented in this. Of course, the biggest and the saddest thing for me personally is that simply our faith in our religion. I generally struggle with the term of religion. Actually, I'm not helping our young people a lot to be happy. But there is a problem with the happiness. And the problem with our happiness is simply this, that actually happiness is influenced and determined sometimes by outside things in our life. Let me just, for example, ask you, and I would like to, if it's possible, to engage all of you today in this Zoom chat. Let me just ask you, when I put this on the screen, what makes you happy? If you are somebody who likes cakes, when you see this is just 3 options. This is just a small test for us. Just write letter A. If holiday makes you happy, just write letter B. I knew that the letter B will be very, very popular, as nobody saw holiday for last year. And if you like family makes you happy, moms, dads, and some very cool people, just put a letter C, and let's just have a list, this quick survey. So we have all of the options above, but I can say that at the moment B and C, some people, that's my wife, you can choose only one. So it's a B or C is winning at the moment. Somebody mentioned the cake, which I would be probably going for the cake as well. But the reality is, Marek says A, B, C together. Marek, I have a feeling that maybe some of you choose all 3. But reality is this, that happiness is actually influenced sometimes by things from outside. Because let me just tell you, I had opportunity while the office or TD was open to sometimes pass by through your beautiful office. And sometimes when I came to kitchen to get a glass of water, I realized, similar like in the British Union Conference, sometimes there is a box of chocolates or there is a cake left there and just, the sign saying, please help yourself. Now, I'm talking from my experience. I remember the day when I came to the British Union Conference, I saw the box of chocolates and I was like, when I come back, it was this Lindy chocolates, wrapped in a beautiful paper. I was like, after I have my lunch, I'll come and get some here. But when I came back, somebody ate the chocolates. I can tell you, my friends, that this is universal rule, that the moment in office, you come back to eat the last piece of cake in the kitchen or whatever it was there, and you found out that somebody ate that chocolate, that piece of cake, this is the moment you kind of forget about this, like turn another cheek. You forget a little bit the discipleship of Jesus. You turn into this, Inspector Clouseau, and you start searching who ate the last piece of the cake. Some of you who do not want to admit, you probably even like start tracing the crumbs on the floor. You checking the rubbish bins, who threw the Linda wrapping or the paper, because you wanted that piece of cake. And this is what I want to say, my friends. Sometimes our happiness, and this is the problem with the happiness, it is really determined by the things from outside. You're happy to have a cake, but if somebody eats your cake, this changes very, very quickly. But my friends, the Bible has also a very good explanation to all of this. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But I can tell you for sure that we would agree on this, and that the one most elusive fruit of the Spirit in all of this is joy. Oh, my friends, I have a feeling that this could be really across the board, because when Apostle Paul writes a letter, he actually writes a letter by starting to say, hey, my friends, what has happened to your joy? He's writing to the early church and he say, hey guys, what is happening with your joy? It seems to me it was a problem from the very beginning of our church. You remember that moment when you came to Sabbath, and for some of you who travel a lot, you probably saw a lot of different churches. You came to the church and they do not know who you are, and then you come to the man or woman on the door and they say to you, happy Sabbath. And you're like, what did you say? Happy Sabbath. And you're like, in your thinking, in your mind, you're saying happy Sabbath. Tell that to your face, because your face does not say happy Sabbath for sure. But you can't say this loud because some of the deacons, they know martial arts for sure. My friends, you see, we tend to equate happiness with joy, but they are two totally different ideas, because each of them spring from different sources. And as I said, one comes from outside in the world around us. But I believe the joy, what I believe is true happiness, comes from the Spirit of the living God. My friends, Bible also explains this. It says joy, but joy through Scripture can be found, in many different places, for sure. And I would like to say that it is possible to live life in true joy, which is not influenced by outside. You see, this is a statement I found out which really shook me. He says the gloomy Christian is a contradiction of terms. And nothing in all religion history has done Christianity more harm than a connection with the black clothes and long faces. My friends, I have to agree with this statement because so often I experience it in my life. So now let us try to find out and deal with this. Let's just have a look for a few moments. What are those joy killers that actually determine the outcome in all of this? You see, my friend, there are many of them, but one of them is certainly unsatisfied expectations. Daniel Duda writes, okay, well, yeah. He says, in Philippians 4:12, I know what is to be in need, and I know what is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, or wherever we're fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. My friends, our young people and yourself and myself live in a constantly questioning our expectations. What do we want from life? Where we want to be? And even more, our young people in churches. My friends, it is not at all surprising that Apostle Paul writes that living in this divine dimension of having joy in your life, it is a secret. He simply explains almost like in a way that joy is something that has to be cultivated. And for all of you guys who are gardeners, you know that there is a time to turn the ground. You know when it's time to plant. You know the time to water and when it's time to have the fruit in your life. My friends, when it comes to unfulfilled expectations, our young people are struggling with this very much so, and sometimes we struggle with it as well. Paul said it is a secret, and he explained that he found a way that to live in this divine dimension when he has everything and we has nothing. And if you had the privilege to grow up in a country which is poor, and I say privilege, and then you would understand this a little bit more, because if you grew up in a country where you had everything, it is really hard later on to make sense how to have more or how to have less and truly be happy, truly live in this dimension which I mentioned, and that is living in joy. Another joy killer is unresolved conflicts. I don't need to tell you about this because we have all experienced it. And I can tell you for sure that when I had a conflict, and I had some conflicts in my life, and I did not deal with them quickly, and I now actually would like to say, like, you know what, if I have a problem with you, let's just deal with it straight away. You know, if it's my fault, let's fix this. If it's your fault, okay, we can find a place. But unresolved conflict is the one which makes a massive hole in your joy and is slowly for surely leaking away. My friends, Hebrews 12:14-15 explain, saying this, make every effort to live in peace with all men and to be holy. Now, my friends, for sure, I would like to give you a challenge for today. I hope you can accept it. If you cannot accept it, maybe some other day. But I want to give you a challenge today to take your phone after this presentation and maybe go through the contact list of your phone, because there might be somebody there. There might be somebody there that you still have a conflict with, or maybe you feel that maybe there is a conflict. Maybe there is somebody there who you need to make peace with, because I can tell you that the joy is certainly leaking away. For some of you that I had a conflict in this group with you, you know that I will make a phone call straight away. And sometimes that's not always the easiest thing to do and pleasant thing to do. But I can tell you that if we had a conflict and we had that conversation, my friends, I considered you a bigger friend than before that conflict took place, as you and me were able to make peace and resolve and move forward. My friend, another thing that is joy killer, and I don't know my time, I think it's time to finish, is unconfessed sin. For sure, I can tell you that guilt is something that is terrible in our life. We carry it every day. It becomes a burden and becomes heavy. And I can tell you that David, in this psalm, if you have a time, read it for yourself. That's Psalm 32, 1-5. He says, blessed is he whose transgressions are forgiven. And he continues and he says, hey, if you are forgiven, you do not need to carry this burden of sin. And this is where I love I love my God and love this church, for they have the solution for the biggest burden of the whole world, and this is guilt, my friend. If you do carry something in your life that you do not need to, nobody else knows, I want to tell you that this still is sucking joy out of your life. And I want to encourage you that in time that you have, make peace with God, ask for forgiveness, and find a way, because guilt will definitely drain away the joy from your life. My friends, Billy Sunday once said, the trouble with many men is that they have got just enough religion to make them miserable. If there is not joy in religion, you got a leak in your religion. God not only wants to restore our lost joy, he also wants us to cultivate those things that will build lasting joy into our lives, so that we don't have any leak in our religion. My friends, is that not a truth which we need to wake up and say, hey, maybe I just have enough religion in my life, just enough to make me miserable. But if I take it all, if I take Jesus, if I take this church that I love so 100%, this will be the place to cultivate this joy in Jesus Christ. And now a few joy builders very quickly. My friends, I would say, rehearsing God's attributes in worship. David was the best in this. Every single time he wanted to build joy in his life. The Hebrew word simply means, when it comes to joy, to spin, to jump, to celebrate. And David knew this. He would open the Bible, he would actually say, shout with joy to the God. And you will find out how in all of this, my friends, he would find a joy in the name of his Lord and Savior. My friends, the Lord is a strength and my shield. My heart trusts him, and he helps me. My heart leaps for joy. The Hebrew word there. And with my song, I praise him. Your problems. This is a mistake there. Just giving to God. My friends, I worship God sometimes the most in my car, listening to the music and worshiping his name, because he truly does bring joy to my life. Recognizing God as a joyful God is one very important thing, my friends. It is maybe hard for you to understand, but I grew up in Serbia, and depending on the theology you grew up, Professor Duda will tell you with what theology I came to Newburgh College. And I actually grew up in theology, which God was on that throne there, very high and far beyond of me or reaching him ever. For me, God was a lot to do with what I do or what I don't do. And every single time I would make a mistake, I would receive a punishment. My friends, this is the God I grew up with. Sometimes I feared him more than anything else in my life. But then I realized very slowly but surely in my life that I have a mighty God who actually is a God of joy and joyful God. You see, in Zephaniah, this is the text I had to read hundreds of times as I could not understand. It says, the Lord God is with you. He is mighty warrior to save. He will take great delight in you. In his love, he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you in singing. My friends, do you know what that means? That means that if you had the chance to walk with angel in heaven right now, and you heard a singing, and you turn to angel and say, hey, what is this happening singing? Angel will tell you, do you know what's happening? He would say, God is singing because at the moment he's thinking of you. If you understand that we have a joyful God, my friends, we will also change how we see all of this. And now, my friends, you heard what is the journey for our young people and you, from the place of not happy to a place of happy to place of true happiness, and that is joy in Jesus Christ. My friends, I want to remind you and bring your thought again to that slide, which simply says that 44% of young people do not see church as a place in which they find happiness and helps them in reaching what I called a true happiness and a joy in life. But if you look all of this, if you look other points, you'll find out that they're looking for the spiritual well-being. They're looking for the mental well-being. They're looking for the physical well-being. And I think in my soul that this is the church that has all of this. And I want to continue believing that we can continue building a Seventh-day Adventist church to be a place in which we all can find a true joy and peace in our God. My friends, COVID-19 has stopped our lives as we know it in a way we know it. And my biggest fear is that we will just rush into reopening our churches in the same way we left it before. We will just dust off the pews and continue the same way. But I believe that in all this horrible time, which brought so much suffering, death, and pain, I truly believe God gave us a time to think, rethink, rebuild, evaluate, and find a way how we can take this church from strength to strength. And also help our young people, help you and me to find the church to truly be the place of true joy, true happiness. So may God bless you as you find time today in your week in front and reconsider how we can have this church to be a church which nurtures, builds, grows true joy in our life. Thank you for your time.